Hey guys, welcome back to Greyhack. Today we're going to be going through some of the basic missions, how to do them, the changing the grades, the police records, all those basic ones. Again, this is just very basic stuff. If you're looking for more advanced in the scripting, uh, any more advanced tutorials, those will be coming, but this is just so people can understand the basic missions, how to do them, how to get through them. So you're not going to see a lot of advanced techniques in this video here. Also too, if you haven't followed already, please help support, throw a follow below, throw a like, and even throw some comments if there's anything you want to see, if there's any tricks that you know maybe that I've missed, throw it in the comments. So let's pick up some of the basic missions here. Last video we've already covered sort of how to set up your computer. We did one of the first missions, and then here we're just going to take it forward. So if you haven't seen that already, or if you're just new, go back and watch that video first. We're going to go into our hack shop jobs. Now I've already taken our first mission here. This is he wants his academic records changed. They give you a IP address, and then they give you a LAN IP address, which a lot of times in the academic records you don't necessarily have to be on this LAN IP address. Other computers in the network have the same database that you can access. So first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our nmap. For copying and pasting too in the actual terminal, you can hold down Control Shift and hit V instead of right clicking and paste, or Control Shift and C. Just don't miss the Shift and hit Control C, because that will exit out of any applications that you're running. Alright, here we see we have 3 ports. We got our SSH, we got an SQL database, and we have our HTTP port all open. I'm going to start off with the very first one, the SSH. So we will go back into our hack shop, look for exploits, SSH 1.0.0. Again, I'm just doing this on single player, so you don't have to worry about IPs and stuff like that. We will be going into the multiplayer and how to set up your computer and defend and stuff like that. But again, this is just our starting videos, very basic, doing these sort of first starting missions. So we're going to search, we're going to look for the different exploits. What we're looking for generally is getting access to a shell. So I look through those first. I'm going to look through our first one. Here we're going to get a guest shell. I believe that's a shell without any dependencies. That could be a possibility. Let's take a look at this next one. Okay, a non-root user shell without any dependencies. Okay. And that seems to be it. So what I'm seeing best right now is a non-root user. So that's just going to be a user on the computer. It's not going to be a guest, or it's not going to be a root. It goes in 3 levels. You either got your guest, you got your non-root user, and then you got your root user. So non-root user shell, this will get us a shell, which then we could probably either email the administrator, and I guess we wouldn't have to do that. We have a root user. What we could probably do is check the contents of the etc or of the password file. So let's try to do that first. So what I would do here in this case, we would buy this. Again, in future videos, we will be getting the source code version and learning how to sort of create our own multi-tool to be able to do this without having to buy these every time. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to do it very basic. We're going to buy this, which I already did because I've set this up. So let's go to our file explorer. I usually try to keep things pretty organized, so I make an exploit folder. I'll make what exploit it is, and then I'll put the version number. And instead of calling it Bond V464B0ND, I like to rename it so it sort of has a little bit more appropriate name so we know what it's for. I just call it user shell, because what's it going to do? It's going to get us a user shell. So if I go to exploits, SSH 1.0, user shell, we're going to put in our public IP address, and then we're going to put in the port number 22. So if this goes according to plan, we should have a non-root user shell on this computer, which we did. So from here, what we want to be able to do is maybe see if we can check the passwords or the contents of the password file. So you can use cat to view the contents of a file. I'm going to go cat etc slash passwd for the password file, and what do we have? We got a root hash right there. Let's copy that. I'm going to go to Notepad. I'm going to paste the root hash. That paster. Do it. Use the root hash, and I'll just save this as to Decipher. I could save the file over in Decipher, but I don't really want to. I just want the one right now. So I usually just create a to Decipher file, and then anything I want to decipher, I can run Decipher. Sorry. TP, that's why it's not working. Anyway, let it decipher. Take a minute because our hardware is a little bit slow. We just started. While we're waiting for this to decipher, let's take a look at jobs. So there's the police record job, which is modify the information of a police record. We have a get remote file. We have the academic changes, which we're doing right now. We have corrupt data. So we will be going through all of those just so you can see how they're done. And are we going to get our root password? All right, Signeer. So in order to get to root from a user, we're going to do a sudo -s. Now it's going to ask for our password, which is SINEER. We'll put in SINEER, and just like that, we have root. And if we look at file contents here, we now have students. So ls, whatever directory you're in, if you put ls, it's going to list your file content. So if we want to do like ls/etc, it'll show us what's in the etc folder. If you just do an ls, it's going to show you the contents of the current folder you're in. So we got a program here called Student Viewer, or if you don't want to do it that way, you could always go to File Explorer and load it up like this. So we have the Student Viewer here. So let's run Student Viewer, and it's going to give us interesting looking student. And who did it want us to change? So Micah wants physics to increase academic qualification by at least 1 point. So let's find Micah. So his physics is 6.2. It says at least 1 point. I'll do 7.3. I like to go at least a point over, because if you do it exactly 1, it doesn't register. At least when I did it a few times, it didn't register. So 7.3. We're going to save that. We're going to reply to this email. You don't have to type anything, but for the purpose of this, we'll just put done, send, and the customer is satisfied with the job. There's been an income to your account. Great. So once this is done, I like to just delete this email to keep organized so I know that it's done. Another thing that we're going to do now here too is we're going to go to our log file. What we're going to do here is to shell obtain. We can delete all of these. I'll leave the That might be. Why there's so many? Holy cow, that's weird. But again, I'll just leave the one connection established because when we quit, it's going to say disconnect. And if there's no connection established and it just shows disconnect, that could raise a red flag. It's not going to do too much in this particular mission, but just a good habit to get into. So erase that a shell was established and just keep your connection. And then from there, we can now close this and we can just exit and exit. And that mission is considered done. So we'll clear. Let's go into our browser. Let's go to our bank account. We should, if we log in, we should, there we go. We got money that came into our bank account. So let's take on another mission. Now let's go to browser. We'll go to our hack shop, jobs. Next we're going to do, let's do a police record. So the client wants to modify the information from a police record. You need to infiltrate the network and add a charge to the person's record. Okay. Check our mail. It's going to give us the IP. And Chrissa wants to add the charge of murder in the year 1998. To avoid raising suspicion, you only have to add the indicated crime. Don't add anything else. Don't delete anything. Just murder 1998. Let's do this. By now we know we need to nmap. We have an HTTP port open, we have a SQL open, and we got an FTP open. So let's start at the top of the list. Let's go to our hack shop. Exploits, HTTP version 1. Get access to our shell. Guess shell, but we have a lot of dependent requirements. Grant access to the file, take vulnerability. So there's things we could do, but none of them are able to get us a shell on this. So let's move on to the next one. Let's do a SQL, usually 3306 and 3307. Anything that has a database, like employee database, this is an SQL. So it's SQL version 1.0. Get access to a shell. This will give us a guest shell if the root user is logged in. This will give us a guest shell if the user is logged in. This will give us a non-root user shell. All right, let's try that one. Again, what we're going to do, we're going to get this exploit. They're not doing it. Let's try this again. Exploit SQL 1.0. We're going to non-root user by, again, we're going to do save it in exploits. This is an SQL. New folder 1.0.0. As we get more versions, you're going to want different versions until we script our multi-tool. I'm going to call this user shell. Download, and if all goes well, we will do exploits SQL. So what I'm doing here too, in case I don't know, if I put 1 instead of typing 1.0.0, you can just push 1 and hit tab, and it'll push anything. So when I did it here, I hit S and hit tab, and it gave me anything that began with S. So it gave me two options, SQL or SSH. So you can hit tab to auto type the rest of your line here. So you don't have to necessarily sit and type everything. All right, 1.0, and we got this one called the user shell. There again, the tab. We'll do IP address, and we will do port 3306, and there we go. Just like last time, we have a non-root user shell, which now we can do our cat /etc/pa password, enter, and voila, we got our root user. Let's copy that. Go into our file explorer, do our cipher. I'm going to just overwrite that, save it. Well, we got too much going on here. Let's close some of this. Let's go to our terminal, cipher, and we're going to go cipher again with the P because I spelled it wrong. As well, we'll get our root password, and then we want to double check what we need to do. Krissa murder 1998. It's a little bit. It's nice to upgrade your computer. You need to sit and wait for this too. All right, Disney One. So again, we're going to do our sudo-s Disney One, and just like that, we got root. So we can hit ls. See what we got. We got an application called Police Records. So let's run that. policerecord.exe, and we're going to find Krista. Oh, she doesn't look like it. They want us to add, so the little plus sign here, we're going to create a new entry. We're going to pick murder, and they want it in 1998. And we click the save button up here, and just like that, record updated successfully. We can reply back and put, she is now a murderer. And they're satisfied with the job. So I can go ahead and remove that email. We can close down police record. And then what we want to do is we want to run just a log. We got log viewer. Shell obtained. All we can do is delete the shell obtained. We can leave the connection established, and we can exit. And exit. Clear. We'll check our bank account again. $440. We're moving up in the world. So that is the police record. We did the educational record. Let's go and check our jobs. Credentials needed. So client wants you to access the remote machine and they want the login credentials of a particular user. Okay. Let's check our mail. Client wants the login credentials of the user Ramaringer. Not sure. They got odd names in this game, but anyway, that's the user. We got a public IP, and then we got a LAN IP of the victim's machine. So starting out with Nmap, we're going to Nmap the public IP. Now it's going to show us our LAN machines here. So the LAN machine is this one right here, 192.168.0.4. So with that information, we see that this is an SSH port on port 9790, which is not a typical SSH port, but if you remember in our exploits, we do have an SSH user shell. So why don't we try to run that first? On port 9790. And here we are. We're logged in as Rammer. We're logged in as that. So with that being done, all we need to do here is cat the password file again. We got Rammer. Copy that into our 2Decipher. Save that. And while I'm at it, I'm going to rename this just because it's getting 2Decipher. And we're also going to do, you know what, we're going to do our root and this in there because we want to go in and save that, erase our log file. So if we're going to go to kernel, we can go to Decipher, 2Decipher. Multiple users were found. Let's do 2, just so we can get this email out of the way. And then I can go to Decipher. Wanted. Oh no. Decipher to Decipher, and we're gonna do 1. So sorry, I had some crazy fingers there. So just because we got the user password, we are going to want to get the root password. That way we can clear our tracks in the logs. Eventually too, once we start getting all these PCs, what we can do is we can create some R shells back, so we have a whole bunch of shells that we can access to be able to work through. But again, this is just the very basics, going through how these missions are actually done. Right. Oh, naked. So his password is naked. And again, they're satisfied with their job. We can delete that. This, we're going to go get the root password. Unners. We'll take the root password unners. We're going to do our sudo s unners. We now have the root access. We can do our log viewer, remove the shell obtained, and we can exit. Done, done, clear browser. We can check our bank, and we should get 660. Perfect. We're at 660. Let's head back to our browser, Hackshop, job. So we did credentials needed, we did academic changes, credentials needed, academic changes, corrupt data, police record. Where are we right now? We are at level 0, so we need to do one more to get to level 1 in order to be able to do the rest of them. For this tutorial, that's everything for level 0. We will move on to the next tutorial, which is going to cover sort of level 1 jobs. They're not going to be as easy. We might have to get into one computer, bounce through the network a little bit to get to the other ones. But for the time being, that is the first basic missions that you can get with Reputation 0. We'll do Reputation 1s and 2s next video, as well as we'll start getting into setting up your multiplayer computer, setting up servers, custom scripting, any tools, anything you might need that's going to make the quality of life a little bit easier, as well as upgrading and updating to protect yourself, because on multiplayer, you know, it's PvP. Yeah, again, with all that said, if you guys haven't subscribed or you haven't followed, please do me a solid. Just click subscribe below. Also, there's other platforms I'm on. I do stream on Twitch and a bunch of different stuff. So if you enjoy the content, please do me a solid. Click below, subscribe, and as well on the next screen, you'll be able to see the other platforms that I'm on. Thank you, and we will see you next video.